So I went through a divorce about 5 years ago, and that was it was kind of unexpected, and all my ideas about what the future would look like kind of went out the window, and had to start over.
When I was moving out here, I was afraid I wasn't gonna meet people.
I just kind of didn't know how things were going to pan out. I was struggling with money, and I just didn't know like how my parents were going to react to how I was doing in life.
I did really poorly in a class my junior year, and that was a lot of pressure because everyone says junior year is the most important year, and I was doing my worst.
And all those sort of voices in the back of your head pop up like, I can't do this, or I'm gonna fail, people are gonna be disappointed.
My cousin died like 2 years ago. He's a former Marine, and he had passed away. I hated that flag coming to my door.
All the, like my first days at work, first days at school, first days in new communities where I was just like, I hope this works. People are creatures of habit, and it's always scary going into new things.
It's hard, like it's difficult. I never lived by myself before. Okay. I just kind of went out on a limb.
It was hard to get over for a while, but then like I stood up and I was like, you know, I'm gonna be a man. He wouldn't want me to be like this.
And decided to do Running Start, and I was so scared, as if I was messing up, and now I'm so happy.
I think I realized that I would be okay. I think I discovered that things work out.
I'm from Detroit, and so when I was there for a long time. I was born and raised there. When I was there, it was just like it's a hard situation to live in because you hear guns every day. You see violence every day. I'm just around that stuff, and like I went to school there, so I used to get beat up every day by like multiple people. So it's like to get out that situation, and I used to have straight F's, like no, never had a C, never had a D. It was just like I was falling to like the gang stuff and everything. So like when mom decided to move out here, like I just completely like switched it around. Now I'm like I got a GPA of more than like 3.7, and like I'm going to college. I never thought I was gonna go to high school for not even college. I never even thought about college. So like now to actually be like here, still alive, and like having goals and having dreams is, more than amazing, more than I can ask for. To walk down the street and not actually get hurt or not hear any cries, anything, like, it's safe. I know that I don't have to look around and like look behind my back and just wonder, oh, if I would get shot this day, or am I protected or anything like that. Because I've never been, like when I was a kid, I never went outside of Detroit, so I thought that was just the norm of like the world. Like it was no good, it was just bad. Like as I grow up, it's just like nobody should go through the things I had to go through. Nobody should go through like horrible things like that. Everybody should have a childhood, and I never got to have one. So it's like, yeah, it's just I think that's what just pushes me to do better.
I'm 74 years old, and I never thought I'd see a day like today. It's a mess. Let's be honest. The world's a mess, and it's been a mess, but it kind of seems like it kind of gets worse as time goes on.
I was on the Bernie Sanders campaign doing my best to bring the world to a better place, and we all know what happened after that.
It needs a leader. It's very chaotic right now, and it's just like someone needs to speak up and actually fight for change.
Honestly, it's kind of depressing. I think a lot of high powers put pressure on the young adults, especially for how rent is. I can't live by myself on my own for the wage I'm making. It's going to cost an arm and a leg to do it.
I think the opioid crisis is a pretty big thing. Not to make it all political, but drug abuse and drug addiction ravages many people. Over here on the east side of King County, it's not necessarily as prevalent, but part of my training program is I spent 10 months in downtown Seattle, and you would not go a single shift without running multiple calls that were 100% related to drug abuse. No matter where you are, across all socioeconomic classes, across everything. That just overall health and wellness, I think, has kind of taken a decline in society over the several decades that's been going on.
I've always just wanted to help people. I found that social worker was a good blend of nature versus nurture as far as how to help people achieve their goals. Started working with Catholic Community Services about 10 years ago and working with people coming out of jail, adults experiencing mental health issues, and licensing people for foster care. Day-to-day in Kirkland is getting here, setting up for our families that use the space at 1:30, and then I'm here 2 to 8 with families, so just helping them be in the space and also connect to resources, because the families that use this space are experiencing homelessness. So we try and meet their needs, get them connected to programs. I've been working with people who are homeless for like years, and only now, like I feel like I have a stronger understanding of how difficult it is to be homeless. I'm understanding how blessed I am to have shelter, how difficult it is to get out of homelessness once you're there, how expensive it is to be homeless. This is ridiculous that these people are without homes. It's a basic need, and we need to do something about it.
From Korea, I served in Korea, in Italy, and all around the United States. I was about 12 years in the Army. I was just a young man at the time, 18 years old when I went in, so I was kind of stupid, but I made it. I got through it. I guess that when I was in Korea, I was having a lot of trouble. I was addicted. I had some addictions and that. And here this guy shows up out of nowhere with this big giant Bible. What's chances of a Bible salesman showing up in a little army camp 5 miles from the DMZ, from North Korea? And I bought that Bible. Of course, I didn't understand what it said at first, and so I took that Bible home and I carried it all around. I was 27 years old before I even heard the gospel. I didn't mess around. I received it, and I never looked back. Seek the Lord while he may be found, and the truth will set you free.
You should be happy, but you should never be content with where you are. There should be another opportunity of growth or learning and things like that.
It's important to not compare yourself to one another just because we're on earth for a different reason, and just because, you know, my path is different than someone else's, it doesn't mean it's wrong.
If something's hard, just keep going. Like Dad, he kept going in medical school even though it was really hard.
Try to do everything with purpose and find meaning in the things you do. And if you're doing something that you think is meaningless, then kind of reassess.
Do some soul searching and don't rush into anything too quick, but to make sure you follow your heart as well as your desires.
Be nice and just go ahead and take that risk. Something you want to do in life, like change careers or move states, just do it. Like there's so many things that people say they wish they would do, or you don't want to get to a point in your life where you regret not having done something.
I think the only thing we can do today is to love each other and hope that it spreads.
There seems to be some separation, especially after our recent election here in the U.S. At the same time, there are a lot of things that bring people together. Focusing on those things and really celebrating them is important. Time with people that we love and appreciating the good things in life, and building a sense of community and celebrating people's individuality in a peaceful way.
I think there are definitely things about the world that are good. One thing that will make the world better, which probably sounds Pollyanna, is just that we acknowledge that everybody, even if we don't agree with them, is a person and that person has value. It's really easy to find people that agree with everything that you're saying and won't push back. I'm afraid for the world because we tend to be so siloed. When people talk, we need to listen. It gets really hard, particularly when we're up against something that we're like, no, that's stupid, and blah, 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 we want to talk over them, but it's sort of like, why, like asking more questions of like, why would you believe that way? Is there a certain instance that happened in your life that makes you feel that way, would you be willing to hear me out and hear from my side of the story or my side of the belief or something like that? If we just talked with each other rather than talking at each other.